So yeah, I've been here 5 years ago. One of the first YouTube videos I ever shot was doing the project as a consultant for the hedge fund that owned this previously. So I'm very familiar, been in every unit. What I'm not familiar with is how she is responding COVID, because what you hear is a lot of things are getting back to normal, but what happens if things get shut back down again? Yeah. So, you know, we pick up this property, right? Mm-hmm. And then we enter it back and we step back into a phase one, you know. Now that schools are reopening and people are trying to get back to normal, if we have a relapse, what does that look like to the hospitality and retail industry? Right. And how would this property respond? And as you can see, you got competition everywhere. Oh yeah. So this had a roof leak many years ago. Had a roof leak. But as you can see, it's a clean property, and it's still maintaining. They just painted it, put some mulch down. Problem is those flat roofs. Oh yeah. And that's where you're seeing a lot of the issues. You see the difference between the roofs at the other property being pitched and these being flatter, where the vast majority of their issues. Yeah, there was some major mold in 116 or 110 there. 116 major mold issues there.
So what are some of the differences in what you look for on a property like this versus the 560 unit one?
Nothing's any different. Okay. You know, you treat them all the same. I'm looking at the age. Really, my main concern is the demographics and psychographics of the prospect tenant right now, the current tenant. That's really my main focus, is how they're going to respond, to the changes. COVID, unemployment, no stimulus. I think a lot of folks have been getting by with the stimulus. Now that the stimulus checks have stopped, how are they going to respond? So everybody is saying how well this property is responding, right? Everyone's talking about how well this property is responding, but she hasn't really been tested yet. But now that there's no stimulus, do we anticipate an uptick? My main concern is how she's going to respond now that the stimulus is getting shut off. I want to know how many, because, a lot of the tenants have been getting by with that unemployment and that $600. Everybody's back to work, but if we go back to phase one, hotels shut down, travel, we're going to really get to see how everything responds. I think October, November are going to be, as I've said before, are going to be really the tall tale signs of seeing how well everyone, because I was at Disney this week. I was at Disney Springs this weekend. So, yep. So it looked like everybody was back, trying to get back to normal. But if we digress a little bit, that's what I'm concerned about. I do feel like the worst is not yet come. Okay. I do feel like we're going to see some more headwinds and some downward pressures in October and November. Are going to be really the tall tale, probably from October all the way to March into the 2021. It's going to be the real tall tale sign for multifamily. I don't really feel like we've seen the worst because the stimulus.
We're not getting any help right now.
Right.
There's no forbearance on our mortgage. We still got to pay every month.
Man, I tell you, that's some of the concerns is how, and those who even got forbearance, how are they going to respond if they can't get anything through March? Unemployment gets cut off, stimuluses get reduced from 600 to 200. I mean, it's gonna change. It's gonna change some things. And if we go back to phase one,
where we all have to lock up again,
right? How would that? I buy the property, and then 6 weeks later, we go back to something that I have no control over. So that's kind of why I want to pick your brain on the area, because that's really the tall tale sign with this project is not the property itself, is really how it's going to respond if we have to go backwards. It's been a long time since we've been back here, almost 5 years since we've been back to this project. She kind of looks the same, hasn't changed much. A few changes to the office, a few changes to the grounds, but all in all, a really great area, a really great project. I'll talk more about it when I'm off site, because I don't want to do too much talking while we're here on site, but I do see some opportunities here in this Orlando area, Kissimmee area. I do feel like the headwinds of this area have really, will probably more so pick up right around October, November, and push through till sometime March. You know, so I really feel like the property has seen some stress, but I feel like there's still probably some tougher days to come operationally. And when I mean operationally, delinquencies, rent, lease up, traffic, conversions. You know, I feel like there's going to be some possible headwinds, but mainly with the rent collections. So mainly, nothing's really changed. All this used to be the office. You know, everything here is pretty much, you know, Nathan pretty much has been the same. They painted. They did the exterior. They put paint on the exterior, changed the landscaping around. The main problems are always going to be the roofs. The main problems 5 years ago were the roofs. The main problem now are still the roofs. If you want to come around this area, you'll see most of the landscaping is still the same. The leasing's here. The maintenance is still in the back. So most of the change that took place is in the courtyard area. The laundromat, they converted the basketball courts into playground, which was smart because of the demographic here. So all in all, a clean property.
Right.
Does she need a renovation? Absolutely. Windows probably need to be replaced. Roofs need to be replaced. There's a lot of work that really needs to be done. You haven't looked in the unit, but you can see clearly, you know, from the windows, if you zoom, and you'll see that, you know, exterior, right. Interior, there's still a ton of renovations and things that need to be done to this property.
How do you know so much about this space?
I did a consulting job for a bank hedge fund that owned this 5-6 years ago. So yeah, I've been in every single unit. You know, and really they haven't, all they did was put lipstick on the pig, to be honest with you. They just painted. They haven't changed a thing.
Right.
You know, they did redo the courtyard in the area in the curb appeal, but they haven't really done anything to the building. Exterior paint, that was it. They didn't redo the roofs or put a membrane down on the roofs, what they probably should have. So yeah, this really hasn't changed.
Right.
I think the bulk of this project is really, and Joe's here, really the bulk of this project is in the renovation. These units haven't changed in 5 years since I've been here. Like interior, exterior, all they did was put lipstick on the pig.
That's all they've been doing.
They painted. So I think they've just been getting by, you know, putting a Band-Aid over it. And because of the market has been so well over the last several years, you know, they can get away with that. I think now she even told me that, you know,
needing a little bit of triage.
They're struggling. They're gonna struggle. He said he's fearful for forbearance. Okay. That rent collections will tick up if they go back to a phase one, or, you know, so he's just concerned. That's why he's here. So there's still some concerns on this property. Obviously, competing with his competitors, we don't know what those look like. Would love to be able to walk a few of those units and see a vacant unit, but you know, obviously you see there's a lot of competition for the units to be where they're at, the shape that they're in, and then the possible, you know, we have no proof that, you know, if we go back to a phase one, if they shut the hotel and retail down, this whole place would, you know,
it's gonna take a nosedive.
Yeah, it would take a nosedive. So a lot of question marks, but we knew that coming in.
Right.
I just wanted to see how much have they done, and the answer is really nothing. In 5 years, nothing has been done. They painted some lipstick on the pig and resurfaced and redid the playground area. That's it.
Filled in the pool.
Haven't even changed the sliding glass doors in the laundromat. Everything is pretty much the same.
So you got to look at this on paper. What are some mistakes that people would probably kind of fall into if they didn't come visit the property for themselves and just go off paper?
You know, probably first look, not too much. You know, at first glance, really the problem is going to be the operations.
Got it.
Who you have on site, handling delinquencies, handling turnover. I anticipate an uptick in skips. A lot of people are going to be doubling up, moving out. So, you know, I anticipate, you know, some of the income bottlenecking here. Right. Around, you know, again, from October till probably March. Okay. Then I see things picking up.
Okay.
Can this group that currently own it handle that storm that's about to come that I'm predicting? That's the question. And I'm predicting not, and that's why we're kind of here and trying to figure out where we can get in at a price point. Problem is, with this particular project, you have a commercial broker involved. Okay. So they're always going to try to up the price. Right. I would much rather deal with the ownership one-on-one, and then we can kind of figure something out. But when you have someone like a larger CBRE and they're handling the commercial and representing the seller, you know, they'll find a sucker. There's a sucker born every minute.
Selling the dream.
They're gonna, yeah, somebody they'll overprice this and sell this to somebody. Somebody will overpay.
Because there is a lot of rehab.
There's a ton.
Your question before is what they would miss by not walking this property, is that's what they would miss.
Okay.
There is a ton. I know when I go back now and plug this into our spreadsheet, there's a lot of rehab that needs to be done.
Okay.
Cabinets need to be replaced. You know,
Cabinets, tile
resurfacing.
Tubs have been reglazed like 12 times.
Yeah.
It's just a lot.
The main thing is these roofs too. They haven't been done in 5 years.
Cost you $450,000 by themselves.
Yep.
And then I mean I would probably to up what we could get for rent. I would probably convert this office back into a unit and make the washroom the office and put the washer and dryer units in the units.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we can probably get another.
I'd have to look at that contract, but absolutely, yeah. Make the lease.
And revenue.
These were units that were converted. I think
She said this is a 3-1, a 1-1,
Yeah.
and they converted the 2 units in the middle. So I'd put those back so we could get that. We can get that money back in rent.
So a laundromat isn't necessarily more cost effective?
No, I mean you got 131 units trying to use 3 or 4 washers.
Right.
And the manager told me herself, tons of people have turned away because their washers aren't in the units.
I was about to say we put stackables in.
Yeah, so
that's my question.
Easy.
I think they have stackables, if I remember. So they have stackables. So
pull out their fridge, put it on the other side, and the water hookup is right there because the water heater is right there next to the AC unit.
Okay.
We definitely get our money back on that. A couple pergolas, maybe some of those little, I forget, the shade things across some of these open areas for the kids, and some people can go out and have a nice little area to barbecue. Not a lot of money, but we can make it. We could definitely spruce it up some.
That's cool.
Problem is,
we're gonna need to spend the money on the insides.
Problem is you got minor exterior, major. Well, I won't say major, medium interior.
Medium interior.
But the real key here is going to be operational, and how the market's going to respond in the next 9 months, and who takes over.
Yeah, that doesn't matter if they don't pay rent.
There you go. You take this project over,
and
everything.
Properties don't pay rent. People pay rent.
Right. Exactly. So that would be my major. That would be my major concern. That would be my major concern. So, just operationally how she would respond. So.